welcome to another episode of the Pinoy Nurse Podcast. My name is Dion Candelaria,
And I am Irene Mayo.
and we are here to record the season finale of our Pinoy Nurse Podcast, showcasing inspiring stories of Filipino nurses worldwide. So, Irene, we have interviewed six guests
Yes, we have.
for a total minutes of 216 minutes.
Yes.
And we've had great conversations. So I guess this episode is for us to digest um, and hear each other's thoughts on on the season.
It's been an interesting year, hasn't it, Dion? I
It
think
has indeed, yeah.
with the six guests that we've had,
Mm.
it's really cool to be able to have listened to their stories and what knowledge they've had to share. I wanted to reflect with you on each of these guests
Mm.
and also just to look back on what we wanted to achieve in the first place. For me,
Yeah,
I think we did achieve our goal, and that was to showcase leaders across the globe, particularly our Filipino nurse leaders. And I think we have achieved that. What do you think?
yeah, absolutely. I think so too. And I think I'm quite proud of the breadth of what we've covered in this season. We've have a diversity of uh, leadership from our guests, the diversity of settings where they come from, of experiences. We have advocacy, academic clinical research, education, and we've covered a lot of ground, I think. And I enjoyed certainly the ones that I did. I certainly enjoyed talking to them. How about
Yeah,
you?
same here. I think it's definitely an eye opener, and also just their generosity to give up their time as well as their knowledge to
Yeah,
share to
yeah,
everyone who's listening has been absolutely fabulous.
yeah.
I'd like to, summarize for this podcast those individual guests and I guess the key takeaways.
Yeah,
And
okay.
with the first guests, you had the opportunity to interview Louis Horn. What were
Yes.
some of the key takeaways from that podcast?
So my it has been a real pleasure interviewing Louis Horn, and I'm sure you do too. There's a pre-recording chat, which I think a lot of the time is more juicy than the actual edited version in the end. But Louis' passion in supporting fellow Filipino nurses in the UK is just admirable. And I think it's great that it has been recognized to the highest levels. She's got the medal of the British Empire, which is a proof of excellence from Filipino nurses. But behind that, or at the core of that, is really the desire to uplift the community and help out the Filipino nurses who are new, who are struggling, who need assistance. And that's what I really got out of it is the passion, um, the deep-seated passion of making it better for other people. And I think she also articulated that quite well, saying, she's anchored in her purpose. And that purpose is really, in two words, it's support and empowerment. Um, Supporting people, empowering people, and also representation. I almost forgot that. She bangs on about representation, which is for a very good cause. So, um, if you can see it, you can be it. So this is why they kind of organized this senior Filipino nurses group, to build visibility and to show pathways of like if we can do it, you can do it too. And I think that's applicable anyway. So those are some of the notes that I jot down while I was talking to Louis, and it's just full of enthusiasm, full of passion, um, full of insight. Uh, Yeah,
And it's so
it's really
great
good.
to see and to listen to how that passion is directed to a justice issue or an advocacy
Yeah,
issue,
exactly. It's
allowing Filipino nurses or people who
mm,
might not think that they could be part of the table to actually be brought to the table and to be welcomed.
yes, exactly. And yeah, and it comes from an equity lens as well. I think at the start of our conversation, we spoke about the challenges that she encountered or she saw happening, and she wanted to be that agent of change. And if she could change kind of one life at a time based on, on someone that she's mentoring or she's kind of helping out navigate through the complex systems, uh, she'd be happy. And I think that's exactly what she's doing. So yeah,
What a great
very happy.
example of someone just taking the lead. Don't
Mm,
necessarily need to find someone who's doing it, but she's actually taking the charge to say, this
yeah,
is an issue. Let's do something about it.
absolutely. Yeah, and it comes from an equity, from a social justice perspective, which makes it even more kind of impactful um, for the community.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, all right. So now next, so after that we had Sigrid Barrett, and you interviewed Sigrid. I definitely enjoyed listening to her episode as well. But what are your thoughts
My thoughts, so
on your
first of
episode?
all, Sigrid is such a wonderful personality. She even wore, while we take the audio recording for the podcast, while she was with me, she was actually wearing her Filipiniana. She was actually wearing uh our cultural attire, which was so cool.
Yeah.
And I think my key takeaway about Sigrid is that she is authentic and she brings people with her on her journey of leadership. And she's, another one is you don't need permission to shine. You just do.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
she's,
that's really good.
yeah. And I think as a dean in particular, I also see in her that she's very much a visionary and she allows people to achieve their goals, to be their best selves without anything but supporting and just allowing people to do well.
Yeah, I had that, that I guess that kind of resonate, that kind of emanates when you listen to her episode. It's just s- uh, full of empowering other people, sharing the limelight. I think she spoke about, like I don't need the limelight anymore, and I'm the greatest cheerleader for other people, if they're on stage or something along those lines. And I think
Yeah.
that's very good from a dean too,
From a
like
dean, and it
mm,
also just shows how number one, she's so welcoming that
mm,
it makes me feel like, ooh, I want to see what working in UNLV is like because her leadership is so warm. It's so
mm,
welcoming. And when I see her work on, just on social media, like on LinkedIn and things, I just see that she brings out or she wants to bring out the best in other people. And that stems not only from her values, but also her experiences as well.
mm,
She shared a lot about her research and her advocacy work as also. And I think she's so aligned with her values. And
mm.
it's so refreshing to be
Yeah,
able to have a chance to speak with Sigrid. So, yeah, I
yeah.
really have enjoyed.
The other thing that I remember her saying was, um, surround yourself with people smarter than you. And in throughout, I think it was kind of weaved through her episode that she was surrounded by good friends, good people, um, good support networks. Uh, and I think that's one of those kind of facilitators to her success is that she did surround herself with people that would enhance her, improve her, um, attitudes and approaches in what she does and in her leadership, and that includes both her friends and mentors as well. She spoke about mentorship too.
Yes. Yeah. And again, I can't speak highly enough about her, even though I've met her only for a short while. I think
Mm,
she just brings off this really supportive vibe.
aura. Yeah, she does.
Yeah. And so, yeah, based on that, like she's from the United States,
Yeah,
Dean of the University of Las Vegas, uh, Nevada, UNLV
yeah.
University. Yep. Uh, moving to back to the UK, you interviewed Tuti. What was that
Yes.
like? What were some of your key takeaways with Tuti?
So Tuti, I've met Tuti at a conference in Edinburgh. So I guess there's that kind of initial connection, and that was way before the Pinoy Nurse podcast was ever conceived. Um, but we've had, good conversations, and she was so happy that we were kind of both carrying the Filipino flag in our conference. Uh, Tuti is what I like about that conversation is that it was so rooted in the clinical impact. So her research was born out of a genuine kind of curiosity of like, hey, there's a gap in here that we need to kind of address. We need to look after, a certain group of patients that she thinks, she saw that were missing out. And she made it her mission to uh I guess not stop and do her research and kind of answer the questions. And her anchor was to improve the care that we deliver to patients. And I think coming from a clinician like me, and I've done research myself, like it can't be any more solid than that. Like if you're grounded on your own experience and you're wanting to change, in her case, provide more support, and in my case, it's kind of change the system and how the system works for people. That makes your research A, worthwhile, but also B, I guess, more impactful. And I think that's the whole kind of vibe of the Tutti conversation. And like kind of interspersed in there is the role of the nurse. So she was always about in research, the role of the nurse is very important in research leadership. Like there's definitely a space for a nurse, or a nurse's voice should be represented. Um, and I guess again that resonates with me because it goes back to her kind of uh, her identity as a nurse first and foremost, and then a researcher. So it's always about patient care. Um,
Yeah, that's really
those are
awesome.
my
Is that
main
yeah,
thoughts.
I know her research was also about cardiovascular health and genomics.
Genetics, yeah, genomics, yeah.
And sometimes it's even though she identifies as a nurse, it's also about just learning how other people supported her in her journey as well.
Yes. And I guess that's what she channels now too. She says, like lift others as you rise. Because she too was, and I guess many of our podcast guests were kind of beneficiaries of great mentorship. And I think that goes to show that, we then give back, and I sound like a broken record, but we've paid forward
Yes.
by giving back to other people what we've kind of received. Um, and that's what, that's what she does too. The other thing that she mentioned was, and this is one thing I didn't think in this way, was when you're in a high level meeting and you're a leader, your voice, and she said it's this is not verbatim, but she mentioned something along the lines of your voice is like a distillation of other people other people that other people's voices that you represent. And I thought that is so powerful because it's not you anymore. Like as a leader, you you bring in the perspectives of, I don't want to say the ones below you, but you know what I mean, those that are within your kind of area of responsibility. Um, and whatever you say, kind of reflect on your group, on your team. And I think that's a kind of a new insight that I got from our conversation.
And it's an important responsibility to accurately represent the needs of people.
Yeah, that's
So not
true.
only in research where we produce results that accurately represent what people say or what people put in the data, but also as a leader, I think, particularly for Tuti,
Mm,
shouldering the voices in a way that supports action is really important too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now it's your turn. So
Yeah.
Ray from we didn't plan it to be this way, but then Ray is also from UNLV.
Yes.
We're back to Las Vegas.
Back to Las Vegas. Now, Ray was, again, a wonderful personality
Mm,
to get to know. Like you mentioned, those pre recording get to know
yeah.
each other sessions, again, felt so welcome, like an automatic friend.
Yes, I met Ray in Las Vegas when I visited, and again, very welcoming. Um, and that's why I said, look, you interview him because we know each other and we have a connection, so it would be good for you to
Yeah.
start that kind of connection too.
He was such a positive personality, and
Yes.
you just gravitate to just being happy talking with him. And I think
Mm,
because he's a mental health researcher and his prime work and research relates to mental health, I think he makes such a big emphasis on seeking to understand one another. One
mm,
thing,
mm,
a key takeaway for me is when I was asking him questions about how to encourage Filipinos in general to seek help, because at
mm.
times mental illness or mental health is still a bit of taboo. There's still
Yes.
stigma in asking for help or even realizing that one might have an illness.
Yeah.
He's very perceptive. He goes, you don't ask the question, are you depressed?
Hmm.
you you observe how they are. You see if they're different, if they're
Mm,
not eating much or
mm,
they're not their usual self. And then you subtly encourage help. And that
mm.
may be very different to what Western notions of just making an appointment, but it's more
Yeah.
about maybe a family member will go with that person to see someone.
Yeah.
And I think that really just helps to increase the access
Yeah.
to culturally responsive mental health care.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, I thought that was really important for his work that he's doing right now in terms of just increasing access
Mm.
to mental health services,
And as
making
you
it
were,
less stigmatized.
yeah, and as you were talking, I guess there are parallels with my conversation with Dennis, but I know we'll get to that when we talk about his episode. But there is a lot of sociocultural factors, and the way the culture kind of operates, kind of influences, I guess in this example, the way people seek for help, the way they perceive the need to seek for help, or the way they perceive themselves even. So for me, there's one thing that Ray said. I mean, this is not kind of in his regarding his mental health research, but um he said something along the lines of, don't wait to feel ready, just take the leap. Be brave. And I say, I hear that a lot, but I keep forgetting it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all do wait for the right moment. Oh, maybe, I'll do it next year. And then the full year comes and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. Like 2025 just flew by, I feel.
Dion, I tell ya, too quick.
Too quick. I don't even know what I set out for myself at the start of 2025. And yet here we are in December wrapping up a podcast that I didn't plan and yet thoroughly enjoyed.
I enjoyed it too. I think it's sometimes those moments where you just take that leap, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. Like, hey, Irene, let's co-host something, and we'll it started with a conversation,
It
and
did.
then and you were like, yep, I'm in. Okay, how do we do this? And here we are, six guests later, reflecting on the amazing conversations we've had. um yeah, I think, on to Ray's point, we took the leap. Ray,
We did. We did.
he'll be happy. He'll be proud of us. um yeah, now, okay, so we're still in the US. Arnold, how was your interaction with Arnold?
I actually really enjoyed my interaction with Arnold. I think he had some real struggles in life, like coming from some challenges in the Middle East,
Mm,
experiencing the tragic loss of his brother.
yeah.
He's had a whole heap of challenges, but what I really liked about what Arnold had to share was his ability to bounce back and, in fact,
Mm-hmm.
do better.
Yep. Yep.
I really liked his practical strategies on how one could improve or just uh, try something different. My key
Yeah.
takeaway from him, and I've actually tried to do that, to do this in my own practice, is to be okay sharing on social media, something I actually have been very reluctant to do, but
Yeah.
I think as a future researcher, building networks and
Mm-hmm.
being willing to share whatever tidbit you want to share that
Yeah.
could be of value to others. I
Yeah.
think that was one of the key messages he gave me.
Yes. I think let's talk about that. I think that's worth having a conversation about. So social media is a, you can't fight it. It's inevitable. You have to have, and we, Dennis and I had a conversation about this too, about your online presence. But I guess the main thing about maintaining an online presence is the balance.
Correct.
And also the substance. We keep uh you and I don't want to be like, there's a lot of profiles, right? And we see it in, when you go on LinkedIn. Um, and yes, I get that there is a self-promotion kind of aspect to it. You need to showcase your work, but I guess you have to be tactful about how
Mm-hmm.
you post. Um, you have to be genuine too, of course. I mean, if you're genuinely bragging, then sure, by all means. But um, but I guess you have to keep it balanced and make sure that kind of it's uh, substantiated in a way. And I guess, for example, you've been posting reflection, and I really appreciate that, because it's kind of a breath of fresh air when you see, like, hey, my content is about, this is what I thought about today. 3 points. You have like top three things, or
Yes.
things that I want you to remember. And that's good, because it can't always be me, or it can't always be
Correct.
flex, flex, flex forevermore.
Yeah, and I think that's
Um,
what sometimes platforms like LinkedIn get a bad name, is it's just all self-promotion in a way. I
yeah.
thought when I was starting to think about what I wanted to do with my social media and with LinkedIn,
Mm,
I really thought purposefully about, if you don't have a online presence, if we want to use this as a platform for recruitment, for example,
yes.
I'll share with you at the beginning of this year, I joined LinkedIn and I promoted some of the research that I was a part of, but I didn't have many connections. So it
Mm,
didn't reach many people. Uh,
yeah.
but that initial post was about recruitment. It was about, I want something from someone. But I
Mm,
thought to myself, I need to also give back and create things that would be of value to other people.
yeah, that's beautiful.
So if I did need to promote research again or ask for recruitment, it wasn't all about take, 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 but it's also I have given to the community.
Yeah.
I think about pillars in the way I produce content. One, definitely about reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Usually my Fridays are posts about just taking that time off. I don't
Mm-hmm.
tend to post on the weekends because those are times that I want to just turn off a little bit and
Yeah.
enjoy nature.
Yep.
So I definitely try to set up some things like that to have a reflection about the week that's passed, what stressed me out, and how I could use the weekend to rest. But also sporadically in the week, I do a bit of, talk about research in general.
Mm.
I've just posted something about Braun and Clark, a little bit
Yeah, I saw that.
thematic
Yeah, yeah.
analysis, or just showcasing people who are actually shy to promote themselves because they think, oh, I'm tooting my horn. I don't really say
Yeah.
it. So I love to showcase people who are doing really great things, but perhaps are shy to actually share that.
Yes, I agree with that. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I guess promoting what you do is important as well. But having all these other things aside from that, and promoting other people is definitely, I guess, a one step up, in having your own kind of brand
Yeah. And you
and
know what, Dion? I
influence.
think just like what the previous speakers have said, uh, it's about building the networks, right? Making
Mm,
connections. And social media has been that great connector for me. I've
mhm.
got some great messages from different people based on the content I've posted, just wanting to literally collaborate. And I think that's
Wow.
such a great thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, learning from Arnold was definitely about in terms of presence in social media was so
Mm.
cool.
I think he said something that I really like is don't underestimate your worth. And again, it's probably some of our previous guests also mentioned something along those lines. Because a lot of the time we doubt our own capabilities. And it's a good reminder to don't underestimate your worth. Like you're worth it. In research we call that like don't self-reject, because we all were kind of used to rejections, right? We eat rejection for breakfast. Like we get rejected for papers, we get rejected for grants, we get rejected for fellowships, we get rejected for positions, for whatever it is. um so it becomes normal, but it doesn't mean that it's less devastating.
Mm-hmm.
But also behind that is the fact that you're rejected means you've put yourself out there. Because sometimes I do this too. Sometimes I self-reject, like, oh, I'm not gonna apply for that anymore because the success rate is so low. But if I'm not in the running, I don't even have a chance. So you miss all of the chance you didn't take, right?
You won't even know.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess it's a good reminder for us to not self-reject, just go for it. There is vulnerability involved. There is that kind of, you need to prepare yourself for whatever the outcome is. But again, that's where resilience comes in, of having hope, but not expectation. Like you can hope, but you can't expect, and you know you get disappointed because you expected.
Yes,
Um, I know it's easier said than done, but
100%.
I guess that's kind of something we need to remind ourselves.
And these leaders have shown us that they've demonstrated that time and time again, just taking that leap reaps
Mm.
rewards. It
Yeah,
may not be the rewards that they want, but in a different way
or they
they
learn from it
yeah.
or something. There's always some growth opportunity somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the final guest that we had for this year,
Yes.
I heard so many great things about Dennis's post related to LGBTQI research, and
Yes.
he caught you by surprise a little bit too. Hey,
So I loved our episode. I did enjoy it very much. But yes, he did caught me by surprise. We were having a nice chat, and suddenly he throws in this curveball and asks me about how or if my parents have spoken to me about sexual health. And I froze, and I feel like, cold water was pour down on me, and I didn't know how to react. I was super awkward about it. It was weird. I imagined my parents in the dinner table. So, how's sex going? And I'm like, no, it is not. It, it is, and that's exactly his point. This is what he teaches families to talk about, to remove the awkwardness and the weirdness out of it, and just talk about it like normal. um but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was caught by surprise, but it was a great conversation nonetheless. um for me, what struck me with Dennis's episode was that him going to nursing and pursuing research is extremely personal to him as a proud gay man, and wants to look after his community. Um, yeah, I think that's really moving and telling. Like, you want to dedicate, I guess, the rest of your life serving and understanding your community. I think that's noble. Um, uh, but also, uh, he also spoke about transactional mentorship, or that we don't need to be transactional mentorship. It just needs to be fun. I think I really like that. Because we talked about mentorship as like dating. Like, there has to be compatibility, there has to be shared shared something. There has to be some synergies in your thinking.
Yes.
For it to work. Like, it can't be knock knock, I want to be a mentee. And the mentor goes, yep, okay, I want to be your mentor. And suddenly, like, it doesn't quite work like that. Like,
It's not a
um,
transaction.
no, like, even when we started this podcast, Irene, please don't listen to our episode one. It was
I'm actually scared to
cringe.
listen to episode 1.
No, but
I'm
that's
glad you
because we
listened
were
to it.
two people who, like, yes, let's do this. And we were, I guess things are so much different now. Um, but yeah, the relationship is different, the dynamics was different, and you can see and you can tell. So so that's Dennis's episode. He also spoke about the sustainability of an academic career, which I resonated a lot. Because yes, it's true. There's so much hassle. There's so much
Mhm.
noise. 2025 just flew by. Um, and I am yet to do like a proper reflection and a proper stock take of the year that has been. And I think it's time to kind of focus your energy on things that matter the most, be it your relationship, be it, at home, spending time with family, or the nature, or, your alone time, because sometimes you don't even get to me time.
That's right. And I think it's also important, unlike, we've all been clinicians before, being caught up with so many tasks to do, trying to care for patients and all of that
Mm,
stuff. In academia as well, we're pulled with different priorities.
yeah, yeah,
And sometimes they're not even our own priorities, but
no,
they land on our shoulders to deal with.
yeah,
And so, yeah, sometimes it's like 2025 has come and gone. Have we set out to do what we've set out to do for ourselves, or
exactly.
someone else's agenda?
Yeah, and sometimes it's the things, extra side things that we decide to do, such as this podcast, that kind of detracts us. But at the same time, you know that it's worthwhile. Like, I had a great time chatting with the guest, and I know you are too. And even now, I'm having a good time reflecting on what we've done, and I'm quite proud of it,
Me
actually.
too. I think what's really made this podcast so special, Dion, is number one, you've created it to open up opportunities for others to listen to other leaders who are doing their thing. They're actually
Mm.
living the life that they've set out to do. And number two, I've gained a really good friend in you. Over the
Oh,
last,
thanks, Aaron. Same, yeah.
over the last year, I think, yeah, we have
We've
gotten to
got
know
to
each
know each
other.
other. Yeah. a lot more. And
And it's been good. And we're part of a research project together as well. And I've seen just so many great things that you're doing to give back.
mm,
And I think this coming December, I hope it's a good time for you to also just really have that good rest. But also, I know you've
yeah,
got a lot of plans for 2026 as well.
yeah, I haven't thought that far ahead, but thank you. Yeah, I likewise, Irene. I appreciate us working together. See, we have fun too. Like we work, we chat, we debrief,
Yep.
we have fun, and we produce episodes
Yes.
such as this. But yeah, I hope you have a good break as well. Um, now, yeah. So what do we do now?
Yeah. Where to from here?
I think this is a good segue.
Yes.
So in 2026, um, Irene is going to continue as like the mainstay host of the Pinoy Nurse Podcast for everyone that's listening. And I am going to step back, and this creates an opportunity for another, energetic co-host. And it might be guest hosts for
Yeah.
now. Like Irene's kind of the main one, and you might have different guest hosts, and I might come back for a guest host. Who
Yes.
knows?
Of course.
But that's what's in store for the Pinoy Nurse podcast, and I hope our listeners had a great time listening and learning from our six guests. And from this wrap-up episode too. I think there's some gems in here that we've kind of covered as well, Irene.
Yeah, I think for me, I look forward to 2026. I will miss you though, but we will still be, communicating and having
Absolutely.
those good chats together. Yeah, I look
Absolutely.
forward to having some co-hosts alongside with me for 2026 Pinoy Nurse Podcast. It's been great. It's I truly, genuinely, I have enjoyed getting to know you not only as a person, but also someone that I learned from. Those gems
Mm,
about research, how to work together as a team, and even putting this podcast together.
yeah.
For me, I didn't have it in my radar to be a host
And
nor
now look at you, you're a pro.
consider podcast, starting from the awkward asking of questions. But again, we start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's been an amazing year. So thank you, Dion.
Yeah, no, thank you, Irene. Thank you. It's been a great experience to be doing this with you, and I learned from you too, and it's just fun. All right, do the honors, close it.
To all the wonderful listeners today and throughout this year, we thank you so much and we hope that you've learned something from all our guests this year. And we look forward to contributing more in 2026. Merry Christmas, everybody, and wishing you a Happy New Year.
Bye, everybody. Watch out for season 2. Bye.
Bye.